Chairman, fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that I have been writing a lot of obituaries. First time my obituary got recognition here. Thank you. Yeah, Professor Oommen was a friend of mine. I know him because his elder brother, Mr. T.K. Matthew, was one of the founders of Deepalaya, an NGO in Delhi. And I was the president of Deepalaya for 18 years when Mr. T.K. Matthew was the secretary and chief executive. And as I mentioned this, so it was in that context I used to meet Professor T.K. Oommen. I'm not a sociology student, I'm a journalist basically. And I was greatly influenced by Professor Oommen. One day, he asked me about a particular article that I wrote in the Indian Express. Then I told him that I got a lot of response. So he asked me, what do you mean by a lot of response? I said, I got a lot of response. Then he asked me specifically, in terms of letters you got? I said, yeah, 1 or 2 letters. Then how many people complimented you? I tried to remember, maybe 2 or 3 calls I got. So you made it a lot. So this is what he thought. And Mr. T.K. Oommen was like that. He has, in his autobiography, he has mentioned that when he got Padma Bhushan, he was felicitated at 11 functions. And not only that, he also mentions that he got 193 letters from various people, including Justice V.R. Krishnaiyer. That is what he has written. So he was meticulous about certain things. Yeah. And it was very tough dealing with him. So I felt sorry that I had to say that I did not get much response. Anyway. Now, about Sachar Committee report, it has often been mentioned. And I know the contributions that he gave to the Sachar Committee report. And I always consider the Sachar Committee report as the Magna Carta of the minorities. That is how I always treated it. Because that is the kind of, it was a weapon with which, the whole idea that Muslims were being appeased, they were getting, a larger share of the national resources that was demolished by this particular report. And he was also a very honest person, Professor T.K. Oommen. When he got this award, this Padma Bhushan award, I called him. And I, of course, congratulated him. And then because I am friendly with him, I asked him, how did you manage it? So he was very honest in telling me. Usually, people won't say that. People would say, oh, I got it. Because I'm so great that I got it. This is what people would expect. But Professor Oommen told me that actually the credit should go to the Vice President, Mr. Hamid Ansari, because it was Mr. Hamid Ansari who recommended his case and took it up with I don't know who the authority is concerned, and he got the award. So that is how he put it. And now, Mr. Bhattacharya has, Mr. Bhattacharya? No. Sorry. Yeah. Patnaik. Professor Patnaik, I know him. Sorry. Professor Patnaik mentioned about Professor Oommen making a comment about Eedavas. What he perhaps meant was that the Marxist Party will never make a Eedava woman as the chief minister. They have not done so far. K.K. Shailaja was overlooked last time. So Professor Oommen, and I do not know how many of you know, Professor Oommen, as I said, he is very meticulous. He has in his book written that he wrote 56 articles in newspapers. And out of the 56 articles, 26 were in the Times of India. He has mentioned it. And why I mention it is because he wrote that 26 articles appeared in the Times of India. So many people thought that, he was a Times of India person. During those days, Times of India had a journalism school. There was a school of journalism in the Times of India. And this journalism school was headed by a person called Thomas K. Oommen. His name was Thomas K. Oommen, and this man's name is T.K. Oommen. So At that time, there was one Mr. Upendra Bajpayee, Mr. Ubendra Bajpayee was looking for members to join his media center in Gurgaon. So he was looking for people to join this media center. It was a group housing society. They were looking for people. So one day, Professor Oommen got a call from Mr. Bajpayee saying, "Are you Mr. Oommen?" He said, "Yes, I am Oommen. Would you like to join a housing society?" Where? In Gurgaon. And he did not, of course, he had accommodation in JNU, but he did not have a house of his own. So he said, "Yes, why not?" And then later on, Mr. Ubendra Bajpayee came to know that he is not the right person. But then he had given a commitment and he had to be taken. That is how Professor Oommen became a member of Media Center in Gurgaon, where he lived for a long time and where he also died. So that house came to him because of a mistaken identity. And Professor Oommen was also known for his great sense of humor. For his great sense of humor. Some of you who know him, would be knowing it. What had happened was once, he took some decision. The students were not happy with this decision. The hostel, those who were staying in the hostel, they protested. And at night, around 11 o'clock, they came to his house and they shouted a slogan, "Oommen Murdabad." Oommen Murdabad or Oommen Saab Murdabad, something like that they shouted. So he was woken up, he opened the door and he found some students protesting at night. Then he told them, "मैं कल मुरादाबाद जाऊंगा, आज रात सोने के लिए टाइम दे दीजिए." So that was how he got away with. The students laughed and they went away. And I also have his wife, Mrs. Josephine Oommen, was principal of a school of which I was the secretary. I was the chief, or you can say the manager of the school. So I know her very well. So there is a story about her. It is not a secret. And the story is that Professor Oommen got a job, not a job, an assignment in Hungary. It was a 9-month assignment. So he thought of taking his wife along because he would be there for 9 months. So she also accompanied him. And it was perhaps the longest stay abroad. So his wife was very thrilled. So she packed all her nice saris. All the nice saris she had, all the Kanjipuram saris, etc. she collected and she carried to Budapest. What happened was when they reached Budapest, this suitcase was missing. And she never got it back. She lost forever. So she was very sad. She was virtually crying. And sense of humor did not, his sense of humor came to his rescue. And he said, "Don't worry, write a series of articles, people will read and we will get the money. And I can give you the headline. Indian lady arrives in Budapest without clothes." Everybody will read it. This was, his... Yeah, Professor Oommen was like that. Professor Oommen was like that. And I will conclude. Before I conclude, I will tell you one more story about him. I belong to the same church that he belongs to, Marthama Church. Once our church invited him for a program that was to encourage students who are appearing for the exam. Basically to encourage them to do well in the exam. So he started his speech. He said, "You all should be like dogs." So everybody was stunned. A professor, JNU professor, coming and telling the students that they should be like dogs. They were shocked. Then later on he said, one great quality of a dog is that dog's job is to secure the house. So it doesn't sleep much. But even when he sleeps, he is conscious about his duty. So if there is a slight, disturbance, he will get up. So students should also be like that. You should study, you should concentrate on your studies. like the dog which is obsessed with its work. So this is what he said, and everybody liked that speech. I already taken a lot of time. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.